What's up? AJ, Braun, Kratz? Let's have some fun. Top of the show here just for a minute before we dive into some topics. This is technically a topic. It's just going to take a minute. Did you guys see that Jorge Soler got his suspension reduced? I feel like sometimes those things just completely slip through the cracks. Yeah, I barely saw anybody tweet about it.
4 games?
Yeah, from 7 to 4. Mm-hmm. Fair?
That's good. Interesting. Charge them out and you get 4 games.
I mean, it's better for him, but I don't know. I thought charging the mound was a minimum of 5 games. But you know what? If you want a 4-day rest, 4-day weekend, go ahead and charge the mound on a pitcher that's throwing well against you.
Did you think it would be more?
I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, shouldn't he get the same thing Lopez got? Would Lopez get 5?
He accepted 5 from the number, right? Because then he could basically start on time with an extra day of rest.
Yeah, but I mean, shouldn't Soler get the same thing that Lopez got?
I would say he should get
He's
more.
The one that charged the mound. He's the one that charged the mound.
Yeah, I think that whole process is kind of sloppy now and should get corrected. It doesn't make sense. Most of what happens there, AJ, has to do with timing of rest days and for a starter, when you want to start again, for a reliever, if you want to take some days off, and then even for a hitter, maybe they find a window where they're like, we were going to give you a day here. Let's take it now. That's not the nature of how punishments should be implemented. Let me fit this into my schedule. Hold on. Let me bring up my calendar. Can you suspend me on Wednesday, the 21st? That would be great. Thank you. It's stupid.
That's pretty much how they do it. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, you're right. When you break this down, the dude who charged got less games than the dude who didn't, who obviously defended himself. But silly. Just wanted to throw that in there. Not going to spend a whole thing on it. We've done it already. Fight of the year so far, but it's only mid-April. Let's get to the hottest team in baseball.
He's charging the mound.
The San Diego Padres had an epic win over the Mariners last night. They have won 7 games in a row. It is the best win streak in baseball. They're starting up a 3-game set against the Angels tomorrow. They're finishing up against the Mariners. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. AJ, do you think this is a nice little hot stretch or a team that could be very dangerous in the National League?
If they can stay healthy. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Can they stay healthy, especially pitching wise? If they can keep, their starting pitchers, King, Pivetta, the rest of their starters healthy, I think they can, because they do have a decent offense when guys like Bogarts and Jackson Merrill and some of these guys are hitting the way they have been. I think they have a pretty good offense. So it just is going to come down to health. And I mean, can Mason Miller just never give up a hit the whole year? I mean, and strike everybody out? If he can, then yes, I think they can be dangerous, but it's going to come down to health for them. We all know that, and we'll see where they end up.
I do want to get to the health front because Nick Pivetta news keeps sounding worse, like he's going to miss significant time. We can mix in some Lucas Giolito into this conversation too, but just to start here, Kratz, this team was down 6-0 after 5 innings. They were down 4 runs heading into the 9th inning. Actually, it was down 4 runs after that second out, right? And then they mounted the comeback charge. Were they down 2 or 4 when it was 2 outs? I watch every game every night.
The sack fly put them down by 3.
Right. Ramon Laureano with a huge knock. There's rumors that he might join the show tomorrow. But they pull off a 7-6 walk-off win. Jackson Merrill gets the walk-off. And, yes, one of the best catches we've seen this year. The Mariners have been robbed at least 4 times because they were robbed for home runs by Joe Adell 3 times in one game. And then Merrill got him. We're showing the walk-off knock for Merrill here, the double that scored 2. Good vibes for this team right now. For me, Kratz, I mean, offense is going to come and go. They probably need some more pop in the past. You hope that Merrill has a better year. He's got tons of potential, and we saw it more 2 years ago. Dealt with some injuries last year. Tatis starting to pick things up. Bogarts has looked good lately. And they have such stability in their bullpen that even when they lose a guy or two, you just feel like there's still a nice high leverage mix for them.
Yeah, that's the part that I was going to say when AJ was talking about injuries. They already lost Pavetta. Pavetta was the rock for them last year. They still have an okay rotation, but really, you don't need a lot from your rotation when you have as deep a bullpen as they have. And they even lost Robert Suarez in the offseason, but Morihone, I think, added like an average mile per hour to his fastball, so he's averaging 100 miles an hour from the left side. Everybody knows what Mason Miller is doing. Jeremiah Estrada's coming out of that. This team has the deepest bullpen by far. The issue is, are they going to hit the ball out of the ballpark enough? Are they going to be able to put together a lot of hits to be able to score 6 runs? Are they going to be able to keep that up the entire season? And I think, teams, we always complain about teams that only hit home runs and strike out. Oh, they're going to be super inconsistent. There's going to be ups and downs. It's the same with a team that doesn't hit home runs. Well, when your team's scuffling, you can never hit them, and you don't hit the ball out of the ballpark. How can you ever come back in the game? So it's one of those things that I have them as a playoff team, but I have them as a playoff team because of the fact that I think they're better because they're in the National League West. They think they can catch the Dodgers. And so I think they're going to be striving for that and then ultimately hit the playoffs. And I think the West is worse than everybody thinks. And I get it, it's early, but the Giants are dookie. The Rockies, we know, are dookie. And I think the Diamondbacks are going to give you a tough game every time, but I think they're just a little short. And so I think there's a lot of wins for them in the West as you get into division play.
AJ, you know who looks much better? I know he'll split time with Freddie Fermin, but Luis Campusano was a big prospect years back. It's taken him a minute. He's 27 years old. We didn't show the clip the other day because often this show is running on television screens, but they asked him what's changed, and he said, I stopped giving a flurb.
Well, he also went to AAA and hit 330 with like 35 homers last year, something like that. So let's not forget. I think he might have been MVP of the Pacific Coast League last year. I think he won a batting title. He hit like 330 with like 30 homers in El Paso Chihuahuas. I think he played for last year, whatever it was. So he went down and figured something out. Listen, they just have a good thing going right now. But you know what sucks? They're not even in first place. They're in second place now because they're in the division with the Dodgers.
Way to rain on their parade, but you are exactly right. They're still the second best team in the West, and that's okay. As long as they don't drain all their fuel to try to catch the Dodgers, just make the playoffs. Manny Machado, I think, is hitting like 160, 180, something like that, so he's going to get hot. Jake Cronenworth might lose some of his playing time. Like, I think Ramon Laureano is going to come a little bit down to earth, and I think Cronenworth and Manny Machado are both going to step up and play better. But the Campusano thing, like, I'm really intrigued to see how he does this year. I'm really intrigued because he's talked about needing to change his swing, and he still has tons of movement in his swing. Is that going to play in the big league level? Is that going to play when you're only playing sporadically because Fermin's going to get a lot of the time? I'll be interested to see. Anytime a guy kind of has like a second life to his career, you love to see it.
You're spot on with Campusano. I don't know if he won awards, but 336, 441, 595 in 105 games, 72 walks, 82 strikeouts, over 1,000 OPS last year. I know it's the PCL, but still, those are exceptional numbers. So, yeah, we'll see if there's consistency there with the swing and if it carries over. So let's finish with this. AJ, you weren't with us yesterday. We talked about the report from Ken, Sharma, and Mooney about Lucas Giolito getting some interest from the Cubs and from the Padres. How bad do you think the Padres need one more arm? And do you think that they should aggressively pursue Giolito if the price is right? They mentioned in the article that they are going through the final stages of a sale process. That is a real thing. It's not even a cheap thing. It's just that when you're selling a team and then all of a sudden you might sign a guy for $10 million prorated or whatever it ends up being, it can make it a little bit tricky until that sale process is finalized. So we don't know exactly when that's going to be done. It should be soon. But do you think that the Padres should be aggressively going after Giolito and try and beat out the Cubs if it's down to those two and they both are in a similar price range? Because right now you're looking at a rotation with King, Vasquez, Buehler, and German Marquez. And yeah, I mean, at some point you hope that guys like Musgrove, Pivetta, we don't know. They said could be weeks, could be months for him with the elbow strain. So they need an arm.
Yeah, why would the Padres not? They're not even going to, by the time Lucas Giolito gets there, he's only going to be making about half because it's not going to be, geez, if he even ramps it up now, you're still looking at maybe at least a month away, probably, I would guess. I don't know. I'm sure he's been throwing pens or whatever, or simulated games, but it's not the same. So I think he would be a great fit in San Diego as long as he's healthy because he can eat innings for him. He'll give him quality innings. He's from Southern California, so that would be nice for him. I think it's a great fit and also the Cubs too, because they've already lost Horton, right? They need some help in their rotation depending on how it goes. So I think both of these teams make a ton of sense. But San Diego, if I'm San Diego and I can get a guy like Lucas Giolito to come in and pitch for me for 4 months, I would definitely do it and help me get to the postseason. Heck yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to get to the team that they're chasing in the National League West. We'll also get to the team that team beat up in the last few nights, just to give you a little taste of what to expect over the next hour here on FT. And that includes Jim Duquette, former GM in the Bigs, knows the Mets front and back. He's going to join us in about 20 minutes. Let's step aside and get to the Dodgers next. Show and tell, we're doing this live. The Ridge 5-in-1 portable charger is epic. Walk me through it, Kratz. I literally just got mine and just opened it. Nice matte black.
Super. I got the orange one. If you have an iPhone 75 or whatever it is, 17, it matches, same orange. But the back connects right to your phone. It's a magnet. You hit the button when you have it connected to the phone. It starts charging your phone. Then there's 2 cords that come out. Those 2 cords can charge 2 different devices. Then you have another plug at the bottom if you brought your own cord. So you get all the charging that you need. It's pretty legit. Oh, and there's a stand. I don't even know if you've popped yours open yet, but the stand's there, and you can just set it up, and your phone's there, so you can keep working while it's charging.
Yeah, and you can look on the screen here. I mean, I know. Here, AJ's got a little orange action, but this is attached to the phone, and then you can get the extension out of here. But it's super sleek, easy for me. I'm traveling all the time. You probably see me in a different studio very often. So this is truly the one. We're trying to work with them long term. So if you want to check it out, that'd be great to support the show. LED charge status indicator. Let's see AJ's too. Nice. Oh, look at you. You got the pods attached. There's the charge indicator.
I do, because I need to charge them. I'm at 18%. I think is that 18%? So I need to plug it in.
Yes, 18.
What if I went like this? Then wouldn't it be 81?
It could be 81, but it's not. You would run out of some charge. It's so nice to have that display screen because it's like, is that two dots? Is that 1 dot? It's fail safe. It's simple. Well, I thought there was 2 dots. No, it said 10%.
Thank you. All right, let's show everybody what they can do here. So 1 thing to pack, 5 ways to power. You can find Ridge's power bank at Best Buy, or we'd prefer you get 10% off at ridge.com by using code FOUL at checkout. Just head to ridge.com, use code FOUL. You're all set. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them FT sent you. We're back in 20 seconds. We're going to go over the Dodgers. Then we'll look at the Mets, other things to expect later in the show, power rankings with surprise individual performances to start the year on FT. This is for the one fan out there that wanted us to cover the Dodgers-Mets series much more than we had already been doing. We've been talking about this series literally every single day. This fan said we need to talk more about the Dodgers are doing and less about what the Mets are doing and not show the Mets ownership tweet. So we're still going to show the Mets tweets from their owners because that's pretty rare. And we're going to talk to Jim Duquette about the Mets. But we're going to start here, AJ, with the Dodgers and some uniqueness here. A couple of unique points to get your thoughts on. Number one, Shohei Ohtani got hit by a pitch the other day near shoulder. So they're like, you know what? Let's just have you pitch and not hit for a game. It hadn't happened in about 5 years. He shoved. His ERA is 0.50 after 3 starts. And he's getting support from role players that I think are making a big difference with the Dodgers this year. The bottom of their lineup is absolutely torching people. And also, you rarely get to see anybody DH besides Ohtani. Dalton Rushing, of course, DHs and hits a freaking grand slam. We won't get to the Lindor error that happened there, or the mistake. I don't even know if they charge him an error, but the mistake he made again. We'll do that later. But your thoughts on the Dodgers right now?
They're good. They're number one in my power rankings still, Scott. They're number one in my power rankings. They're good. And by the way, I played, I'm going to name drop here. I played golf the last couple of days with Andrew Jones, new Hall of Famer. And he said something funny, and I hadn't really thought about it. One thing the Dodgers do, have you noticed Shohei gets matched up with when he pitches? How they don't ever, it's not Shohei versus Tarek Skubal. It'll be Shohei versus the 4th or the 5th starter, and he's like, Shohei wants to win a Cy Young, and if they keep continuing to match him up, and let's not forget, like Joe Madden has told us, Shohei pretty much makes his own schedule. So if he can keep getting matched up with the right teams and pitching the way he's pitching, there might be a good chance for him to win a Cy Young and an MVP this year. I'm just saying if anyone can do both, he can do it. So I think that the Dodgers are just really good. I mean, Dalton Rushing would be a starter on 29 other teams almost. Not 29, but a lot of other teams in Major League Baseball. But here he is stuck behind Will Smith, one of the best catchers, and Dalton Rushing is off to an unbelievable start. So I just think the Dodgers build depth better than anybody. They find players better than anyone, and they use their players. They deploy them better than anyone, and that's why they won back-to-back World Series.
Hold up, Kratz. Do you believe that conspiracy theory? Because I think they're trying to slow play it with Ohtani and do writers even give a crap about wins?
Wins? I mean, I don't know.
It was 15-0.
Look, I definitely am going to pay attention now. I definitely, because Andrew Jones put that out on the interweb through AJ Pierzynski, I am definitely going to be watching for this now. I want to see, because there have been pitchers that I played with that would duck certain teams. I'm not saying Shohei's doing that. AJ and Andrew Jones, the two AJs, said that. But I have seen it before, and pretty notable names sometimes too.
How do they duck? They talk to their coaching staff and go over scheduling?
I'll pitch on short rest. Wow. That's unbelievable story in the media. This guy's pitching on short rest. Oh, wait, he's ducking a Baltimore Orioles lineup that absolutely raked at the time. Ooh, I'm not feeling it. I just need one extra day. Ooh, duck the Yankees lineup that was killing it at the time. I've seen it. Maybe AJ doesn't agree with me. I have seen it, and the fact that it's been brought up, it's something I never thought about, but I'll be watching the rest of the time.
I will say this. I do not believe the conspiracy theory on the facing the lower end starters, AJ. I can see it on the scheduling, although I don't see it for Ohtani. I mean, he's faced the Mets, Blue Jays, and Guardians. I mean, those are pretty good teams.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I didn't say it. I'm just saying, I know this. Shohei, and I'm not accusing Shohei of this at all, and neither was Andrew. He was just saying that the 3 times he's pitched, and he's been really good. Let's not forget that. I mean, the Blue Jays aren't swinging it very well. The Guardians aren't known for their offense, and then the Mets are right now. The Mets are metting. I don't know what else I can say about the Mets. They're just not very good right now. So I don't know. It was just an interesting thought. I'm just throwing a thought out there. I'm not throwing out saying it's true or this or that, but it was an interesting thought because, yes, at Kratz, I have seen guys duck certain teams that rake certain guys, and pitchers. I don't know. I don't know if I can go. I mean, I've seen it happen.
I'm just saying
Oh, yeah.
this is going to get posted as its own video, and you just might want to clarify if you stand on the line of any conspiracy theory with scheduling with this particular pitcher or people, or you're just informing us that other pitchers have done this in the past. I just want to put that out there for you guys to say, yes, I believe any conspiracy theory with Ohtani scheduling or not. I personally don't. And I love a good conspiracy theory. I think they're trying to pitch him like every week, sometimes even a little bit more than a week you'll see in between starts. So he's only up to 3. He's got an 0.50 ERA, 18 innings. He finally gave up an earned run in this one. He's striking out the world with the fastball touching 100, and he's got the curve down in the low 70s. He was establishing the fastball early and then unleashed the entire arsenal throughout the rest of the performance in 6 innings against the Mets. But I think the biggest thing with the Dodgers will just be the TLC that they give him and a little bit of a battle at some point later in the season if these numbers keep up. Because Ohtani does love individual accomplishments as well, and he's going to want to win a Cy Young Award. I think that is a significant bucket list item, and I think this could be the year that he pulls it off. I don't know if he's going to pitch for the rest of his career. I mean, I think maybe if I had to guess, I'd put the over-under at 3.5 more years that he pitches, maybe 4.5, but I think there'll be a point where he becomes an outfielder late in his career. So for now, AJ, this might be his best shot ever if he's feeling good. And what's the threshold? Does he need 150 innings, whatever the number is, so that he can win a Cy Young Award against what should be very difficult competition, including Paul Skeens in the National League?
Yeah, and listen, I want to clarify this. Have I seen pitchers do this? Yes. I've also seen position players take days off when a tough pitcher is pitching. So I agree with Kratz on that. And as far as this thing, what I said about Shohei, it's just somebody said to me, and listen, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't even know. I know he pitched against Clay Holmes yesterday. I don't know who he pitched against the last 2 times, but it's just something to talk about. It's something to talk about. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's not saying this or that, but I know this. Shohei makes his schedule. We know this. Joe Madden said this when he managed Shohei, that Shohei makes his schedule and he pitches and he doesn't pitch on 4 days rest. He doesn't pitch on 5 days rest. He pitches about once a week or so, and he pitches when he's ready. So listen, Shohei's really good. Okay, Shohei can do anything. Shohei is dealing right now. He's feeling it, and you know what? If he wins a Cy Young, it'd be pretty dang awesome.
167. That's how many innings I think he needs. In recent history, Corbin Burns won the Cy Young. He had 167 innings when other dudes were up in the 190s. I think 167 gives you enough that, you know what, if he has a half an ERA, I don't think he's going to have a half an ERA, but if he does have a half ERA, maybe it could be a little bit lower, but Corbin Burns, I think, set the mark where the least amount of innings that you can have, even being super dominant. Like, I just think that's the number. If you're going 6 innings an outing and you only get 27 appearances, he's a little short. So we'll see.
And some of it depends on competition. Even if he does hit that number, and I'm just going to use Skeens as the example. Let's say Skeens gets to 200 innings and has a great ERA and similar strikeout numbers, the whole deal. I mean, if someone has a 30, 40 inning advantage and a lot of similarities elsewhere, they're going to win the battle. By the way, on the starting pitching front, again, just for the Dodger fans, they're going to lose their mind if they only catch the first minute of this segment. He's faced Tanner Bybee, Dylan Cease, and Clay Holmes.
Terrible.
You got to tell Andrew.
All terrible.
Tell Andrew.
All terrible. Again, I'm just telling you what he's.
No, I know you are.
I hadn't even looked into it.
I'm
so
just
I don't
being
know.
the stat nerd. I'm just
Tanner
covering
Bybee,
us. Yeah.
Dylan Cease is pretty good. Clay Holmes
So
is pretty good.
Here's the person who got second place the year Burns won it was Zach Wheeler. He went 3 complete games, 2 complete game shutouts. He had almost 50 more innings, and he had 13 more strikeouts than Corbin Burns, and Corbin Burns still won the Cy Young. So you're talking about quite a bit difference in the innings. And games started, Burnsy had 28. Wheeler made all 32 of his. So it's possible. It's possible, but Shohei's got to get it going. He's got to get it going in the sense of like that, making enough starts getting enough innings to make the writers say, okay, he was better than everybody else.
Right. Right now he's at 18 innings, 1 earned run, 7 walks, 6 strikeouts, or 18 strikeouts, 6 walks. One other component here that I teased and I want to make sure we get to. So Dave Roberts said at the beginning of the year, it's the best team that he's ever managed in terms of what it looks like to him. This was coming out of spring training. So he said this at the beginning of the season. And they are off to a 14-4 start. It is the best, I think it was tied for the best 18-game start that a team has had as a defending champ. Again, we're super early into the season, but it's better to start 14-4 than 9-9. And this stat from Alden Gonzalez stood out as we've seen guys like Kim shine yesterday. Pais is on fire. We might cover him later in the show with a different segment, but bottom of their lineup, OPS, 935. 935. That's a 130-point lead over the second best team in that category. Bottom 3 hitters in their lineup and what they're doing on a nightly basis. In other words, the 7, 8, 9 hitters have basically been Juan Soto OPS from 2023 to 2025. That OPS number was 946. Alden said it's early, but still, that is wild. That is really impressive for the first few weeks of the season. And if that ends up being the case, Kratz, I mean, this team is more dangerous than ever on offense. Hey, remember the World Series last year? There were some times early on in the series where we're like, is the Dodgers okay on offense? Is there enough firepower here? I know we have a long way to go between now and October, but this does look like a more complete team on offense.
Yeah, I would say so. And these guys are going to come down to earth. Dalton Rushing is not going to hit. Let's see, what is he hitting? 529. Just a news flash. Pais isn't going to hit, based on what I saw in the postseason. He's not going to hit 409. But doesn't mean those guys can't have great years. It doesn't mean Miguel Rojas in his last year can't hit close to 280. But it also means Mookie Betts, when he comes back, isn't going to be hitting 180. Freddie Freeman, because he said he wants to, he will hit above 300. That's just the type of player Freddie Freeman is. So he's due for a little bit of a hot streak because he's only hitting 270. And the best hitter in free agency this offseason is hitting 220, 240 with a below 700 OPS. Kyle Tucker will end the season right around 850 OPS. So there's still guys that need to get hot, and some of these guys will regress. For all the haters are like, well, they're not going to do this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, but their best players will get hot during that time and come back to the mean of where they are in their career. That's what's so amazing about this team.
Incredible start. Okay, I want to get to one other team as we've been very National League West heavy to start, and then we'll start mixing it up later in the show. The San Francisco Giants. Harrison Bader, left hamstring strain, just landed on the shelf too. They have not had good outfield production. Rafael Devers has displayed some frustration this week, breaking a bat and not looking himself. They have, the worst record in baseball at 6-12. This was KNBR radio station out there, sarcastically with a tweet saying nothing like it, rock bottom. 9 homers last in baseball. Walk rate is last in baseball, 5.6%. Runs per game last in baseball at a little over 3. Stolen bases, just 5, last in baseball. AJ, how do you measure the National League West? They're not good? Do you think this is not going to be a good team?
No. I didn't think they were going to be that good going into the season. Everyone was talking about them possibly making the playoffs, and I'm like, they still don't have any offense. They don't have offense. They don't have. I mean, they changed managers, yeah, but Tony Vitello can't hit. And listen, Rafi Devers was a nice trade last year, but when you have guys that aren't hitting and haven't hit in their career really a whole lot, and you play in San Francisco, I mean, your pitching can only do so much. So one thing the Giants had when they were good is they had a bunch of dudes that were clutch. And they could string hits together, and they stole bases, and they put pressure on the other teams. And yes, they could really pitch, but if you're not scoring runs, I'm sorry, and you don't hit for power, you're going to be in trouble. And right now, that's what you see. I mean, you see the OPS, how bad it is. The home runs, 9 home runs. We're almost 20 games into the season now. So it's just they don't score runs and they don't hit. And Daniel Susak 563. I mean, yeah, it's nice and all, but they don't have this isn't a lineup other than Rafi Devers with guys, and I guess Adames should get the one there. The guys that are going to hit you 30 and drive in 100. It's a bunch of guys that can get some hits and some singles, but if you're not stealing bases, and it takes 3 singles to score some of these guys.
The one thing I'll say, though, is, AJ, we do push teams to acquire talent. And when you look at the Giants, they were not doing a good job of homegrown. And, they let Farhan Zaidi go. And you look at the roster, I mean, there's a lot of acquired players that have good track records. Luis Ariz was signed, the Adames signing last year, the Devers trade, Chapman. These are big acquisitions. Jung-Hoo Lee, who at the time was a big acquisition too, cost a pretty penny. Then the bottom of the lineup right now, I mean, factoring in Bader out, you've got Will Brennan, Casey Schmidt, Drew Gilbert, Patrick Bailey. Hopefully, Bader comes back, fills one of those spots, Eldridge at some point being ready. But to me, I mean, you've got half the lineup that just is not intimidating people on top of that. I think some of these veterans will find it, right, towards the top of the lineup and kind of average out what they've been doing.
Why not have Eldridge up there? Why not have Eldridge up there? Why do we not have Eldridge up there?
They don't think he's ready yet.
Okay. Instead of who? They'd rather have Casey Schmidt.
That is the claim right now. Eldridge.
I mean, listen, Casey Schmidt's a nice player, good player.
Yeah.
But I mean, wouldn't you rather have Bryce Eldridge up there? Like when you look and see McGonigle and some of these other guys that have been hyped up for the last few years, wouldn't you like to have Eldridge up there, seeing what he could do at the big league level?
I think he's right on the precipice because 53 at-bats for Eldridge. He's 358, 493 on base, OPS at 105.9. I mean, he is torching the minors right now at AAA Sacramento. So I think, honestly, I'm with you, AJ. They need a jolt and they need one quickly. Things can fall out of hand. I mean, forget the division, 6-12 going up against 14-4 Dodgers, but things can get really hairy pretty quickly. And fans were heated about Tyler Mahle not having a good start. I know it's early, but they didn't like that they didn't go after a big gun. They kind of spent on Hauser and Mahle instead. Mahle gave up a career high matching 8 runs. So it's not looking good right now for San Francisco. Let's get to another team that is suffering at the moment, and that is the Mets with an 8-gamer on the losing side. Jim Duquette joining us on the other side.
Guys, you ever get it from your children all the time? Dad, same old meal? I get it all the time from my children. And guess what? You look at HelloFresh, all of a sudden you can get plethora of different meals. We have so many different things that we can choose from. The kids are happy, and especially my wife and I are happy. HelloFresh has all different types of varieties that can fit for you and your family.
80 plus global recipes every month. You want to travel around the world, Todd Father?
Of course.
I've had Vietnamese, Moroccan, Caribbean.
Oof.
I mean, all kinds of flavors coming at you. Unique ingredients. There's a little lemongrass, curry paste, all pre-portioned for you too. That's the beauty of HelloFresh. So go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM now to get 10 free meals plus a free NutriBullet Ultra Plus 2-in-1 compact kitchen system. That's a $189.99 value on your third box. Free meals applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. Must order the third box by May 31st, 2026.
AJ, I'll let you take this one while we're in the break since we covered it yesterday. Thoughts on Kevin McGonigle becoming the latest super rich dude. And, he was getting a little emotional, even though they said you don't see that from him often. And then mom and dad there talking about how humble he is. And dad said, I just beat him up with baseball, 7 years old, taking balls off his chest that grown-ups couldn't take. So he's going to be a Tiger for a long time.
Nice for him. And I love this, how humble he is. That's great to hear from your mom. And, dad's chucking balls like Happy Gilmore at him, seeing how tough he is to get ready for hockey season next year. Listen, happy for McGonigle, man. 8 years, what was it, 8 years, $150 million or something like that. It's weird. The guys all send these extensions right after they get called up. I don't know. Nobody had this, I guess, where they were called up. They all wait, but it's awesome for these kids. I mean, he's going to be a free agent again at 29 or 30 years old, so he can get another contract. So I love this. I love the parents talking. And I think it's great. He's going to be a good player. That dude can hit, man.
Yeah, he's got the hit tool. Power could develop more. Also, I mean, he's at shortstop now, but he does have positional flexibility too. If the Tigers feel like he's more of a second or third baseman at some point later on, he's done that. So it puts them in a good spot. Or if there's some marquee shortstop available at some point.
Andy's paying for dinner this weekend too. Tarek Skubal and the boys were at the press conference, and Skubal asked the question. He was like, "Hey, the boys going to get a dinner, so maybe it's more like 149 million after the boys are done with dinner."
Oh, they're getting bottle service, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Former MLB exec, GM, Mets, Orioles. He's great. Cheers to you. Yes, cheers, Jim Duquette.
Cheers.
Friend of mine for a long time. Love his work. Sirius XM, many other spots to SNY, the whole deal. Duke, you know why we're here? It's a therapy session. We got 10 minutes to just find out if the Mets are ever going to score several runs in a game again. They've lost 8 in a row. They were just spanked by the Dodgers. They've scored 12 runs over those 8. They're 7-12 on the season. It's not like they're 2-17, but it feels that way. What are you seeing, man?
10-minute therapy session is never enough. I know that for sure. But, I mean, we'll do the best we can on this. I mean, I didn't think with the Soto injury that we'd see this kind of decline on the offense. Like, what Soto means to any lineup, not just what he does from the production side of things, but everyone else around him. They can kind of relax and they don't have to worry about they got the guy that can carry it, right? And they don't have to try to do too much. Now you're seeing a lot of guys pressing. And it starts with Lindor at the top. Like we're seeing pressing offensively. We're seeing them with a lot of mental mistakes on the defensive side. And, he's always been a slow starter. Now you throw in coming back from the hamate, right? And then he hasn't worked. He hasn't played with his new teammates all that much. Like it's been pretty ugly just with him alone. It's going to take some time with Bichette. Hopefully he's going to figure it out. Like we've seen him. I'm not so sure about Polanco, with the lower half issues that he's had. 2 years ago he had the knee, this year the Achilles. I'm hoping that'll clear up here soon so he can start to swing the bat better. But I don't know what you guys thought about the offense coming in. I thought it was a little top heavy for me with some question marks down below. And Roberts swung it better than I thought, and so has Alvarez. And I had some serious questions with the rest of it, and it's that part's kind of played out. So I think the offense is definitely going to be better. I just don't know. I don't think it's going to be a top 10 offense. I never thought it was going to be a top 10 offense.
Jim, what's going on with Francisco Lindor? I've never seen it like this. I mean, at least he did hit a home run and get an RBI. So at least he checked those boxes, but we're almost 20 games in. And he was sitting on 0-0 for 18 games or whatever it was. So what the heck's going on with Francisco Lindor? And then the uninterested, I don't want to say it's uninterested, but fans are calling it the uninterested defense, where he doesn't know how many outs there are. He forgets what's happening. This isn't the Francisco Lindor we've seen for his whole career.
I agree with you on that, AJ. I don't know how to put a finger on it. There's a couple of plays, like you mentioned, he didn't know how many outs there were on a routine double play ball that he didn't make. Last night was a routine ground ball that it kind of looked like he got caught by surprise, and how hard Teoscar Hernandez can get down the line on a routine ground ball. That should have been an out, and it ends up snowballing into a big inning and ends up costing them the game. They score 5 runs after Rushing hits a 3-run homer. So there's been little things like that have really had you scratching your head, like the play over the weekend when he went far to his left. Semien clearly had the ball. That one I kind of could excuse because he doesn't know Semien yet. They haven't played a lot of games together, and even though he should have, they didn't play a lot together, obviously, in the spring. So there's some excuse there, but most of the excuses are inexcusable, really. And I'll take this a step further. I don't know if you guys have watched a lot of those games like I have, but I don't see him interacting with his teammates as much as he normally does too. And I don't know the reason behind that at the moment. So there's a lot of things there with Lindor. The power, I think, will come. Like we've seen that with guys that have had handmade injuries. The power gets sapped early on. I don't know if he'll be a 30 homer guy this year, but I think that the power will come. But there are a lot of questions and not as many answers on why there's been so many lapses on the defensive side.
How about all the position changes that most of these guys have gone through? I get it. Lindor's still playing shortstop. Do you feel like it's a collective? And we're saying this because they've lost 8 straight and they're not hitting it all, but guys switch positions and their offense declines because they're putting a lot of time into that defensive part. They're doing it together as a team now. It's not just Polanco. It's not just Bichette, but you have Beatty playing different places. You have Carson Binge learning the big leagues. It's those things that – do you feel like that's affecting the offense?
I think that it's a big possibility, Kratzy. It really stood out to me when I was in their spring training camp and we go and talk to as many guys as we can. You go, all right, let's go around the field. And Lindor is the only guy that's in the position that he was last year. Every other position is new. Soto moving to left field is all new. You got a new center fielder, new right fielder, the entire infield, first, second, and third. So, and some of those, as you mentioned, are change of positions too. So it's really, really unusual to see that the change of positions. And then you take into account of them coming into a new environment and coming to New York, which takes an adjustment too. And that was the thing that had me scratching my head this winter with all of these changes is you had guys that you knew could handle New York, had succeeded in New York. And now you're kind of ripping it up and shredding it and bringing in guys that you weren't quite sure they could handle New York. So, I still don't know which one of those guys, is going to be able to handle it or not handle it. I mean, that still remains to be seen. It's so darn early. But I know this, when they got booed off the field against the Athletics there after being swept by them, I think there were a lot of guys that were stunned at how vociferous, how loud the fan base can be when they're not happy. And, if you're watching, obviously you guys are watching the social media. I mean, it's pretty loud. They're calling for everybody's head. So, that part of it, you never really know at the end of the day. Hopefully they're going to figure some things out and the winning will make a lot of that go away. But there are a lot of changes. And I can't remember, another team having that many changes when you were expecting to win.
Do you feel like the way the roster has now leveled out through the entire offseason, do you feel like this was David Stearns and the front office's actual plan? Because it just seems very disjointed. Did they want to make us overarching changes? Yes. But do you feel like it came out the way they wanted, or does it feel like it just came out the way that the chips crumbled because they were put in spots where they didn't get the guy that they actually wanted?
I don't know if this was their plan A. I think if you go back, they absolutely wanted Diaz. And, I didn't think they handled that negotiation very well and lost out, in the end, obviously. They were in on Tucker once they had the conversations about whether he could handle New York, or they felt comfortable in that sense. They pursued him hard and heavy and then lost out to him. So I think those were the cards that they were showing early on, that they wanted those two guys. Now, I don't know if it really changes, the way that they start out of the gate. Maybe it's a little bit better. But, I think what they were able to do in terms of pivoting, I think was overall saved the winter. But again, once you're making all those changes, I don't know how, you could sit there and know for sure. And, in fairness, I did talk to David Stearns about this. He was pretty, I'd say realistic early on that they might have some issues on the defensive side, which we've seen. So, I think when you take those athletic guys and you move them, there's going to be some rough patches, but I do think that they will figure it out. I think Bichette will figure it out, but and it's also quite a good possibility that their defense, or their offense rather, is suffering because of it. So, a lot of these at bats that you were seeing are not competitive. I thought there was a couple of games in the Dodgers series that were better. Like their at-bats against Yamamoto were better. I know they didn't win it. Against Ohtani, he's going to make you look silly the way he's pitching right now. But there were some better at-bats. But, as Carlos Mendoza said after the game, they're not making excuses. They're out of excuses. They just need to execute. And that's something that they haven't been able to do consistently enough.
Hey, Jim. Also, by the way, I thought they were doing run prevention. So how's moving all these guys? Isn't that why they went and traded for Simeon and some of these other guys? Because it was supposed to be run prevention. Their defense has been preventing them from winning. Actually, it's been kind of bad. So, but I want to ask. I want to ask about Mendy. Carlos Mendoza is one of my favorite people to talk to in baseball. And you mentioned him, and he's saying no more excuses. They made him fire his coaching staff last year. And as a former GM, you fire coaches, usually you're next, right? Is he on the hot seat if this continues the way it's going? They've already lost enough in a row. And I know Mets fans are already calling for his head, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point. But is he on that hot of a seat right now?
So to the answer to that question, I had to go and look at the last manager that lost all of his coaches in the wintertime, had 1 year left on his deal or 1.5 years left on his deal, and then had these high expectations. They got off to a slow start. Oh, that was last year. Brandon Hyde with the Orioles. And he was fired on May 17th. And you know what their record was? They were 13 under 500. Now, they didn't want to fire him, but ownership basically said, you got to do something. And you couldn't fire the coaches at that point because they were new. So do I think Carlos is on the hot seat right now? No. But, if you get into, a month from now or even less than a month from now, and you're starting to see this team, still play the way they are and still having the mental lapses and all of these struggles, I do think he's going to be getting on the hot seat. So, I think that to me, it's unfortunate because I don't think it's his fault. I think early on, this is more about roster construction than anything else. But, the reality of it, as we've seen, if there's one that has to go, it usually is the manager first. And I think that would be completely unfair. And let's hope, I'm with you, Kratzy. I love talking to Carlos. I think he's a good manager. But the reality is in our sport is there is going to be someone that is going to take the fall if they continue to play this poorly.
All right, Jim, talking about an owner firing people. Steve Cohen fired a tweet out after the loss on Tuesday. We love the fact that the owner's firing tweets out. As a former GM, do you love that from your owner that he's firing tweets out and you're trying to do your job?
No. And I think I go back to when I think it was maybe 3 years ago, he was questioning the hitters and the approach of the hitters and even the hitting coach. I mean, it was just a couple of years ago, and he was like, "Oh man, you just don't want that." Happening. You don't need the negativity, right? You don't need your owner piling on. I think from that perspective of what he said, it was I would say a fair, hopefully fans took it this way, but it was more positive than anything else. He was trying to talk about approaches. He was talking about Juan Soto, who, by the way, sounds like he's been running, if it's not full speed, pretty close to it, and is getting better quickly. So he was trying to give some optimism, I think, to the fan base. And so that's how I would take it. Generally, as the GM, you don't really want your owner, compounding any of the issues or causing more problems around the clubhouse. And I think that part of it has been cleaned up. It's been most of the time, I think when Steve has tweeted, it's been more directed at the fan base to try to get them to calm down. But as we know with the Mets fan base, there's at least a third of them that are absolutely insane no matter whether the team's playing well or not. So I don't think there's anything you can really do about it. But I took that tweet obviously as more of a positive, more hopeful than anything else.
Hey, a couple more for you. So David Stearns obviously wants some time for this roster to settle itself in. I know he's not going anywhere anytime soon, but can you operate that way? Where you kind of gut a roster and you try and put it all together quickly and things can fall on you fast. It just seems like the urgency meter is, I don't want to say it's not being recognized, but when you do some of that, and you've seen that in the past, I mean, the Rays used to do this all the time. The Brewers deal with turnover. when the Mets do it this way, and clearly they don't like the sauce that they had last year, I get it, but I just don't feel like you can handle like a 1 year layover when you also have some players that like Bo Bichette, who I think can still opt out, right? Is it after this year or after the next year? Like I just don't see just, preach patience. Like you either make the playoffs or you don't, in my mind. And the one other part in the evaluation process that I'm still struggling with is that I do feel as if they eventually are going to have to get away from we can't touch starters for too long of a period of time. Like, playing footsie with mid-range starters and signing them to 3-year deals where the money's still high versus, if you like Freddie Peralta and one party, is offering one number and one's at another and it's not that far away, give him the extra damn year and sign the guy.
Right. No, there's a lot there. I agree with you on the starting rotation side. Again, finding the right starter, and maybe it's Freddie, maybe it's Scooble. The hard part with that is in free agency is you're going to be competing against the Dodgers probably again, and so you've already lost out to a couple guys, including losing out on Ohtani, losing out on Sasaki, like everybody has, but the Mets specifically are pursuing a lot of those guys, and they've lost to the Dodgers. So, what makes you think you can beat them when it comes to Scooble as a free agent? So there's those elements for sure. I think when you look at a big turnover like that, I was trying to remember a roster of any kind that missed out by they missed out by a game, by the way, getting into the postseason last year. And it wasn't great, the whole look, but they still only one game, and they would have been in the postseason. That kind of turnover and then trying to win again, I wouldn't have done it that way. I know when I talked to a lot of general managers and former GMs, they wouldn't have done it that way. Now, maybe this will still work. David Stearns talked about an urgency, or he even kind of admitted at the end of last year, he's like, man, maybe I didn't have a sense of urgency in addressing the starting rotation for the second half. And I think that's a fair self-evaluation. So I would hope that would not be the case this year, that there would be more urgency. He's done it with a couple of relievers already, but if a starter like Peterson, if he continues to struggle, I hope they're not going to continue, along that path and keep running him out there when you have some other guys you got to at least give a shot to. So there's that aspect of it. And I think the final thing on the pitching side is I think they're hopeful to piece together the rotation, get more out of a one or two guys like they have with Holmes, let's say, which I thought was a good signing, but develop their own top of the rotation starters. Obviously, other than McLean, they're hoping that Tong turns out to be that guy. Christian Scott, hopefully too. So but here's the thing: you can do both. You can sign the really good, inexpensive free agents and develop them. Like that's what they should be doing. And I don't think they've quite figured that part of it out yet.
All right, let's go to the bullpen, specifically Devin Williams. Do you feel like the tightrope that he walks or has walked since he went to the Yankees, since he's now with the Mets early on in this season, do you feel like that's a tightrope that he's going to be able to walk for this season or the length of this contract in the New York market where he kind of admitted, last year at the beginning of the year kind of got in his head, and then the other guy they brought in, Luke Weaver, is kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, I know. I think I have I definitely have concerns on it. Now, Devin's been off to a pretty good start. So is Brooks Raley. Weaver has had a couple of crash and burns. So I'm not sure if that's how that's going to end up working because, you guys saw that when he was with the Yankees. After he had his hammy issue and on the injury list, he wasn't the same guy. His velocity was down and he didn't have the same results. Relief pitching is and bullpens in general is so hard to build. And there's so much inconsistency. Like, the answer might look like yes now, and a week later the answer is no. But I think with Devin, I'm hopeful. David Stearns obviously knew him from Milwaukee. I'm hopeful that he learned from what happened there last year. Like if you talk to any Yankee fan, they think he was the absolute worst reliever in the sport. Now, he wasn't that bad, but he wasn't good either, right? So, I think that highlights how how much pressure there is on him to almost be perfect, and he can't be in those roles. So I am a little concerned on what the reaction is going to be when he blows, 2 in a row over a weekend when the team's at home. The fans are going to let him have it, and how does he react to it? So, this is a long answer to say I don't know how he's going to handle it. I'm hopeful that he will, based off the fact that David Stearns knows him, so well. But there's no guarantee that any of these guys are going to be able to handle it.
Oof, well, that was fun. Everyone, get off the chair at the psychologist and let me know how you're feeling.
I'm in a slump, actually.
You are? You're not slumping, Duke. I see you everywhere.
I didn't talk myself out of anything. I was hoping I'd feel better after this, but not really.
Sorry. We tried.
Hey, broadcasters don't lose. You just deliver. No. If you show up, you win. Yeah. Duke, you're the man. Thank you for joining us. Guys, you can hear Duke all over. Follow him on X, the whole deal. He's great. Thanks, Duke. See you soon, man.
Yep. Bye.
Hey, we're back. We'll get to this here in Ken's notes column that just came out today. He said one National League general manager granted anonymity. Did I say that right? Anonymity.
There was a, yeah.
For his candor, recently offered this bold prediction. The A's will win the AL West. AJ, and he points to how the pitching's off to a nice start. I'm sure that's going to level down a little bit, but the hitting, it's just been okay. And when you look on paper at the young talent, they're going to hit.
Yeah, they're definitely going to hit, especially in that ballpark. I mean, that ballpark is made for them. And they're going to hit. And if they can get Severino figured out and some of these other guys, they have a chance. Listen, they were my sleeper pick and my guaranteed lock over the wins last year, and I think they're going to be good again, better. I think they're going to be even better this year because you get another year of Nick Kurtz, you get another year of Jacob Wilson, you get another year of Shea Langeliers, who, by the way, is off to an unbelievably good start. So I think that this team has a lot of potential, and I think that they're going to continue to get better. Now, a lot of people don't know about them because they're not in a lot of national broadcasts. They play in Sacramento. They're still the A's and this and that, but they're doing extensions. They have Rooker. They have all these guys. They have a good thing going out there in Sacramento. And yeah, I don't know if they can win this division, but I think they can definitely contend for a playoff spot and hang around 500. Maybe if they make the right moves, get in.
Yeah, why not? Why not if they have the lineup? I'm not saying you don't even like at the All-Star. I mean, at the trade deadline, if they're around, if they're in the area, you also are not you don't have to give up the farm to acquire people at the trade deadline. That's not what's going on. I think they're going to come up a little short, because of the fact that their starting pitching is gonna be asked to do more because they got rid of some of their bullpen guys last year. I think it's something that you're gonna need to see consistency out of that rotation every 5 days, giving you 6 innings, and we're not seeing that yet. And the offense can only do so much. To me, out there in Sacramento, it's about innings because you're gonna have some slugfests, and if you're not giving your team innings, it's okay if you have a 4.5 ERA, but you got to rack up the innings and make sure that bullpen doesn't get exhausted after sitting out in that heat for 81 of your home games.
It's crazy. We just showed the standings. Everybody's basically the same, 2 games up or 2 games down. Good parity start to the year. Hey, let's hit some power rankings powered by MLB Perfect Inning. Make sure you get the game online, on your phone. It's free. We'll talk more about it later. Let's start with the top 10. Now, we're going to go off the list from The Athletic, and we can show that list now. I want to make this important note. Their list came out on Tuesday. We are doing this segment on Thursday, 2 days later. For example, 2 losses later for the Mets. I'm sure they'd boot them out of the top 10 based on the returns here. But for now, they have Dodgers 1, Yankees, Braves 3, Mariners 4, Brewers, Phillies 6, Padres 7, Cubs 8, Tigers 9, and the Mets 10. So, AJ, less about your thoughts on which team should be where since it's so damn early, and more on some of the players that they picked out as surprise performers to start the year, either positive or negative. I'll throw a few names out there and see if you want to react to what they put in the list. On the positive side, what Andy Pages is doing, what Ben Rice is doing, what Justin Crawford is doing on base percentage-wise, what Mason Miller's doing, what Chandler Simpson is doing, a couple that have been slower starters like Cal Raleigh and Alex Bregman. Those are some of the players they pointed out in their top 10, although Reyes is in 16, but the rest of them are in the top 10 for teams that are listed there.
Oh, Andy Pages, what he's doing has been really, really good. Obviously, Justin Crawford coming up in a city like Philadelphia, he's getting on base. He's playing good defense in center field. I mean, yeah, obviously this is a couple of days ago, but man, the Mets in the top 10, they should be in the bottom 10. I'm sorry, with the way they're playing, the way they're hitting. I don't know how they still even in the top 10 even before losing those 2 games. They're just not very good right now. Now it's right now. A month from now, they might be on an 8-game winning streak, and we're talking about how great they're playing. So if we're doing this just off right now, the Padres got to be up there too. They got to be 2 or 3 behind the Dodgers, right, with the way they're playing and the way they're winning the game. So I like this list, but yeah, I think if you're going to do this and you do it, obviously a couple of days later, we're getting to it. I think you got to move the Padres up, and the Mets in the bottom 10 right now.
Yeah, obviously Pages, after we saw what he did, I think he had 1 RBI in the postseason. I think he hit like one. I don't even know if he hit 100 in the postseason. Like they were finding places to put him in just defensively. But to me, it's about Mason Miller. I mean, the people, like the surprises, you knew a guy like that was going to come in and dominate. He's going to be the closer. That's why they traded for him, because they weren't going to re-sign Robert Suarez. And then he went out and does this. 8 innings, 20 punch-outs. That is just a ridiculous number of punch-outs. Like I was trying to look up to see what his ERA plus is for the season, but they don't even calculate that yet. So it's like what he's doing is uncharted territories. Like somebody we were talking about the other day, like chance of 150 strikeouts for a reliever that has 60 innings, 70 innings. Like that's ridiculous. That's like, he would beat Billy Wagner's number. I forget what his number of strikeouts per 9 average was in his best years, but what he's doing is incredible, and I think it makes the games a lot easier for the offense and the starting rotation when you only have to play 8 innings.
Kratz, while you're on some surprises, what about Justin Crawford for the Phillies and the way that he's been getting on base? I think some have said, or maybe it was Ben Davis the other day on our show, yeah, let him loose a little bit on the base paths too, because he's getting on and he's super fast. But thoughts on him early on for a Phillies team that's been meh?
Definitely a meh team. I mean, he's got to be that spark. I heard Michael Young used to talk about how when he came over from the Rangers, he was like, the young guys need to bring energy, be the spark, and be quiet every single day. The veterans have to feed off of that energy. And I think he is a prime case of the Phillies need the veteran hitters, which I think they'll be fine, need to be able to feed off of his energy. The part of running, not running, like what Ben Davis said, like he's getting on base at a ridiculous clip. This is the issue that they feel like they were going to run into if he was batting 9th. Yes, it's awesome. They go left, right, left, right, left, right. But now you have Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, and Bryce Harper hitting, like each one of those guys has a chance to drive you in from first base. So I know Paco Figueroa over at first base, the first base coach is saying, hey, we got some spots here, but we got to be 100% to be able to let him go. And I think look, I kind of agree with Ben and I don't agree with Ben. Like, look, he's doing really well. Allow him to continue to have success and don't put him in spots where, you know what, hey, we're going to make this, we're going to be safe 80% of the time here, because right now, the top of that lineup isn't really doing a whole lot. Trey had a nice homer yesterday. Harper had one late in the game. Maybe that's when he gets scorching hot. Schwarber's leading the team in homers. But I think if you want him to have his full package, if you want that full, like, whoa, this guy is a difference maker in this lineup, I think Ben's right. He does have to start running, and then possibly move him up to 7th, slot Bryson Stott down at 9th. We'll see.
Hey, one more in the top 10 that I want to get your thoughts on, and then we'll move to the bottom 10. AJ, thoughts on the Atlanta Braves and their nice start to the season given the rotation injuries that have hit them? The player that was pointed out by The Athletic was Mauricio Dubon, who is off to a great start and can play a number of positions. You've got Kim out, and Dubon can fill in there. He can even fill in some outfield, and I think he did that a little bit with center, but mostly some shortstop for him for now. He's hitting 333, 371, 515, so he's smoking hot. Eventually, you hope that he can bounce around when everyone is healthy. Remember, the Braves took on some money to save money for the Astros, and they took Nick Allen on. There's a pretty big difference between those two players. Nick Allen's just much more of a glove-only guy. Dubon usually will give you more around league average hitting production. So your thoughts on them, and Bryce Elder too, I think should be on the surprise list. He's shoving.
No, the Braves are playing well. I just don't know if they have enough health in their rotation. I like their bullpen with Iglesias and Suarez at the back end, but do they have enough health after Chris Sale's? Can Elder do it? Can Lopez stay out there? Right? They're going to need some innings from some guys they're probably not counting on going into the offseason and into this season early. So I love the Braves. I think Matt Olson's off to a nice start. It looks like their offense is bouncing back a little bit. And Dubon won a Gold Glove as a utility guy, so it's not like he hasn't been doing this all the time. He can play a bunch of positions, and him playing shortstop, center field, giving guys a day off. That's a nice luxury for Walt Weiss to have. Yeah. Do I think the Braves are good? Yes. Do I think the Braves are the third best team right now in baseball? Probably not. But they're playing well right now, and they deserve some credit for how they've come out of the gates.
Yeah, the fact that they're playing well, I don't hate them that they're up there. Everyone else is kind of playing mid and across the board. To me, the surprise, yes, my ex-teammate, Mauricio Dubon, awesome, great. Sean Murphy's out right now. Yes, Drake Baldwin was Rookie of the Year last year, so maybe it's not a surprise. The start that he's had and the fact that he's stepped up and been that guy that catches in the days that he's not catching, he's DHing. To me, I think the start that Drake Baldwin's had is really, he's kind of been that catalyst when the team wasn't scoring a ton. Matt Olson has started to come alive a little bit. Dom Smith has had some massive hits for them. But to me, like, Drake Baldwin has just, from opening day till 2 nights ago, like he has really kind of been that, like, not captain, but kind of the dude that's made the position players get going here.
Good call. Okay, let's get to the bottom tier. Middle's boring, so we want to do the bottom 10. Here's the list. White Sox are at 30, Rockies 29, Cardinals at 28. They have the Giants at 27, the Angels at 26, putting the Nats at 25. They have the Reds at 24. I think that one stands out to me. I think the Reds look pretty good right now. The A's are at 23. That's tough. And I get it. It is difficult to knock teams out, and you don't want to judge too much on the beginning of the season when most teams are within 5 games of 500. D-backs at 22, Royals at 21. AJ, thoughts on this crew? And I'll give you a couple names too on the surprise side that they've pointed out so far. Slower start for Nick Kurtz, fast start for Jose Soriano. They used the whole lineup for the Nationals, looking pretty good so far on offense. Those are a few that they threw out there.
Well, Abrams is having a nice start, right? I mean, in Washington, I mean, he's doing all right. And Washington scores a ton of runs every game, so they're doing nice. Listen, I mean, the White Sox, the fact that they're still behind the Rockies after this, rebuild and what they brought up, but I can't argue that the White Sox aren't 30 on this team. Have you guys looked at the White Sox lineups and their OPSs and what this lineup? Have you guys looked at it? It's rough. I mean, Vargas 155, 589. Mydra 203, 604. Mark Hami 179, 811 because he's hitting some homers, but he's hit homers when they really haven't been a big deal. Pereira, I mean, he didn't have enough bats. Kiro 146, 385 OPS. Right? Benintendi, 178, 534. These are guys that they were counting on coming into the season being better. Does Kyle Teal being out mean this much to this White Sox team? I mean, it's saddening for White Sox fans to look up and I mean, there it is right there. They're hitting 193 as a team. They have under a 600 OPS as a team. That's a team, guys. This is unbelievable to me that, with all this young talent they're supposed to have, where are they? Outfield, where's the outfield? If you can find me a worse outfield in baseball right now, I don't know. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But, man, I can't – as much as this pains me to say, I can't make an argument for why the White Sox aren't 30 right now with the way they swing the bat and the way they play. It's bad. But the rest of these – I mean, the A's should be higher, I feel like. The Reds should be higher. So this will move. Come back in a month and let's see where all these teams are.
I don't know. I don't know if the White Sox are gonna move. It might be a battle. As much as the Dodgers are going to be number one the entire year in the power ranking, the way the White Sox are hitting and the fact that these are the dudes that are going to play, like this is what you got. Like can't look anywhere else. They might stay at 30 the whole time. The Rockies are going to swing it. They're just going to give up a ton of runs too. To me, out of the whole the bottom part of the power rankings is the Cardinals. The Cardinals, to me, are playing way better than I thought they would. I thought they had a good group of young guys, but they were just good. There was a lot of hype. I think Wind was the best player in that group, but now you have different guys in that lineup that are stepping up. J.J. Weatherholt is doing an incredible job jumping into the big leagues. The fact that he can hit, I think, all 3 of his home runs. I know it was the 2 home run game the other day were Oppo. To me, that puts you at a different level of power, a different level of ability to hit in the big leagues. But the real surprise is Jordan Walker. Like the dude, 8 home runs, I think now, 11-game hitting streak. You're talking about hottest starts for hitting home runs in Cardinals history. Names like Mark McGwire. Like what he's doing is incredible. And every time he hits a home run, I don't know if people that don't watch the Cardinals see it, but he goes to the bullpen and he goes like this. I don't see anybody else doing that. And, maybe there's some motivation because a guy like this, the last 2 seasons that he's had, I brought it up the other day, but if the Cardinals weren't in a rebuild, if they didn't just say, you know what, we don't like the path that the organization's going, we're going to go in a rebuild, he might not be in the big leagues. He might have to be figuring this out in the minor leagues. And the fact that he is stuck around in the big leagues, continued to work at what he knows he needs to get better at, whether he worked at it before or he didn't, and now he's committing to it. He's elevating pitches. He's elevating breaking balls, heaters, pitches away, pitches in. And his hit tool is now combined with his power. Oh, and he's 23 years old. So every time he hits a home run and goes like this to the bullpen, I hope it's because, you know what, I just hit another homer. It's going to cost a little bit more to extend me if you're the Cardinals.
Hey, just looking at the fans in the chat, they don't like where the Diamondbacks are being placed since they've looked pretty good. And then I'd say the biggest complaints right now are coming from fans and me about the Reds, and they did point out how we pointed out this list came out 2 days ago. I don't care. 2 days ago didn't change it for me with Cincinnati to be in the bottom 10 right now. I know that now they're 11-7 and have the current best record or tied with the best record in the National League Central. But AJ, for me, if this team figures out some offense from their outfield, and that should be attainable at the trade deadline, I know it's far away, they look pretty damn good to me. I think the way they focused on pitching is real. At some point, you hope they get Hunter Green back, but I don't even think they really need him right now with the amount of arm talent that they have.
Oh, Green and Lodolo, right? Isn't Lodolo out?
And Lodolo. Yeah,
So,
which is scary. Look, they already look great.
Does Geno Suarez have this much swagger with him whenever he goes? He just makes teams that much better. Is he just the ultimate vibes guy? I mean, he's awesome. And you see them and the Giants are also, talking a little trash to each other back and forth. So that's also fun. The Reds should be higher. I don't know how they're in the bottom 10. And the A's too, I'll say it again, the A's in the bottom 10 surprises me because the A's are over 500 even after the way they started. So the Diamondbacks are playing all right. The rest of this list, you can just, the Royals, the rest of them are just washed. But to me, the Reds and the A's should be at least in the middle 10. How are they not in the middle 10? That's maybe not top 10, but in the teens at least.
I watched a little more Reds this year because I picked them to make the playoffs. So I'm like, okay, I want to watch their games. Their pitching was nasty last year. Their pitching missed out on Hunter Green last year too. The fact that Lodolo right now and Green are down, Rhett Lauder and Chase Burns have stepped up and punched out the world. And the fact that they've continued it with their rotation, they've continued it with a bullpen that, besides Emilio Pagan, very few people know what they're bringing out of that bullpen. But there's some absolutely filthy Frisbee sliders, if you watch a Reds game, of different guys that are running out of that bullpen. And the fact that this lineup has guys who I've been expecting to be really good at some point, with Ellie De La Cruz finally hitting some right-handed home runs last year. Maybe that injury was a bigger deal than we thought when he had that power outage. The fact that Spencer Steer, I think, has more in the tank. Matt McLean, maybe every day back from that shoulder surgery, he's going to get more and more power. But the story is last night's hero, Sal. Sal, the way that he is hitting as a rookie, again, he's taking balls to the opposite field with power. It's in Citizens Bank. I mean, it's in the Great American Small Park, but he can hit. He can hit, and for a rookie, Sal Stewart has an opportunity to do some things in Cincinnati, and I think he's only 22, if I'm not mistaken. He has some things. He can do some things in Cincinnati that if he continues this, he's going to give Nolan McLean a real run for his money for Rookie of the Year this year.
Correct. He's 22 years old. He's balling right now for the Reds. If you have thoughts, let us know. Drop it in the comments and go download MLB Perfect Inning 26 right now. Check it out on your phone. Yeah, it's an officially licensed MLB game. You can experience the thrill of the real-time PvP baseball game, updated team logos, uniforms, the whole deal, stadiums for the 2026 season. Perfect integration of the official MLB designated runner rule for extra innings. Download MLB Perfect Inning 26 from the App Store today. Hey, we'll throw in some injury news during the breaks like we do. Porter Hodge down for the rest of the season. That's a good arm. But he's down for the Cubs. UCL surgery. That's the tweet from sideline reporter Taylor McGregor. AJ, it's not just the starting pitching that's out for this team. I think Boyd's coming back soon. We know that. At some point, Justin Steele will come back, and who just went down, Cade Horton for the year. Hunter Harvey is hurt, and Phil Maton is hurt. So they're getting a lot on the arm injury front here.
Yeah, they're getting hit hard right now. That's why the other teams in that division need to take advantage of this if they can, because the Cubs were the kind of the pick to win this division. But the other teams need to put together who's going to be the team that steps up. But the Cubs are man, they are banged up on the pitching front. But they still have good depth, though. I mean, Imanaga's look good. Tyon. It's not like they don't have guys. They still have guys that are big league pitchers. And I think teams kind of learn from the Dodgers and learn from the Blue Jays that you have to have 7 to 10 quality starters in your organization to make it through the year with the way guys go down now.
Oh, Eminaga was awesome. 26 swinging strikes, most in an MLB game so far this year. Yesterday, his strikeout percentage up big. He's got 30 Ks in 22 innings, and they pummeled Luzardo and the Phillies yesterday. I mean, their offense should be pretty good and deeper this year. They've got a deeper bench. I like the team on that front. I just think they'll have to weather the storm with pitching.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, definitely. I mean, watching Imanaga, he was. Everyone says, he can't be a 2-pitch pitcher. He was a 2-pitch pitcher to righties and a 2-pitch pitcher to lefties, but it was 2 completely different pitches to both. Like it was impressive last night watching the first 6 innings of that game. That was a clinic of him being able to have that low release angle, late life fastball that we saw his rookie year that was baffling guys.
Figured something out. He figured something out.
Maybe he's healthy. Maybe he came back from the IL stint last year and started giving up the league's, or the NL at least, most home runs from the time he came off the IL till the end of the season. Everyone's like, he's broken. Don't offer him a qualifying offer. Blah, blah, blah.
That's right. I think the league miscalculated on that one. Seiya Suzuki recently back. I like the rookie Ballesteros at DH. It's a pretty good team. BetMGM Locks, a little quickie seg, and then we'll get to Lance Lynn. Yesterday, Todd Father hit with his Dodgers run line move. Yeah, that hit easily. Kratz and I fall. Let's spin it forward. Updated money bags. Of the 5 core bettors on this show, 3 are in the green by a pretty nice margin, given where we are at the start of the season. Kratz and I are struggling a little bit. All right, we're going to switch up the order again. Kratz went yesterday first. He's not going to lead off anymore. He's going to be at the bottom of the order. So AJ's up first.
All right. Well, we talked about already. Sacramento is a hitter's haven, especially in day games, and they have a day game today. So I'm going over 8.5 runs there between Texas and them. And then I'm going to Houston for Weiss, who's starting for Houston, under 4.5 Ks. He's gone 2 2/3, 2 2/3, 2 2/3, 3 innings, and he usually averages anywhere between 3 and 4 strikeouts. So I'm going under 4.5, and that gets me to plus 256.
Ooh, nice. I'm going plus money bet today too. I mean, basically even money, but money line for the A's at plus a hundo against the Rangers. I'll take it. I think, they've fared well so far for bettors, often looking like a value. Of course, they handled the New York teams really well. That was a big part of it, but they had the 0-4 start, and I just think the computers aren't calculating what the A's can put together. So I like that kind of value pick tonight. They're going up against Leiter, so we'll see how that goes. But A's money line for me at plus a hundo, and Kratz for you.
Yeah, it's going to be 70 degrees in Sacramento, and it's Leiter versus Jacob Lopez. I'm going to take the over 9. And it's paying me plus even money. It's plus 100. So I'm putting 500 down to win 500.
Whoa. That's one of the bigger bets you've put together in a minute, no?
Yep. Feel confident
said
about
that at the same tone that you'd usually. So if I wasn't paying attention for a moment, that would have just slipped right by me. But
feel good. Let's go, boys.
500 big ones for Kratz. There you go. Those are the 3 picks for you. Oh, do we have Pap? Did I forget to get to Pap?
Yo, it's Parlay Pap here. Yo, I'm coming from Chuck E. Cheese's.
Wait, we have him. I didn't realize. My bad. So there are your picks, and here is Pap.
What's up, my people of FT? It's your boy Parlay Pap coming to you with another parlay today, and we making money, baby. I'm making all the FT fans money, and we're going to keep doing it. So here we go. Today, pretty simple. Astros playing against the Rockies at home. We're going to take them in the money line. And Walker Buehler pitching for the Padres today against the Seattle Mariners. And Buehler's been getting lit up this year. So we're taking the Mariners in the money line. We're going to parlay them together, put 200 on it, and make that cheese, baby. Let's go.
Okay, Pap, plus 191 for Parlay Pap. And reminder to everyone, and any sport odds boost token can be yours within the BetMGM app. So go check that out. To use the token, add a wager made up of bets from any sport. So we've got significant action going on in hockey and basketball if you'd like to play that game. If you win your wager made with the token, you receive extra winnings in unrestricted bonus dollars. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Lance Lynn coming up next.
Yeah, so I've been a 44 guy ever since I got drafted. Made some cool custom gloves with them, but that's why I take the cake. They messaged me like about a week ago asking like what my favorite Pokemon was, and I said Tyranitar. That's the only right answer. But then they're like, all right, like they went to work. I had no idea what it was going to be. They sent me, mystery package basically like in kind of aluminum foil wrapping, and they're like, all right, like it's a complete surprise. Like kind of record your reaction here. Like want to see what you think, and I whipped this bad boy out, and I didn't even know you could do anything like this. They kind of create like a cool little pocket in there for, they put a way to hold a top loader, and then it's in top loader and then the sleeve. So I don't know if it's game legal, but this is probably now the coolest thing I own.
So Tyranitar is number one. What's the top 3 Pokemon?
Tyranitar, Nidoking, and then Flygon/Swampert are my top 3.
And favorite Pokemon game?
I mean, Fire Red. Yeah, when I was 6, and I played that for endless hours in elementary school.
It's Will Klein, hero last year in the playoffs.
It was. That's a cool glove. I don't think you can use it in a
really
game,
cool.
but it's cool.
No. It's a showpiece right there for Will
Plus, won't
Klein.
it get bent? Won't the card get bent, Scott, and then it goes down in value?
I didn't want him.
Yeah, it won't bend in that though. That's basically a sleeve within the glove.
Yeah, but I didn't want him to mold the glove at all. I'm like, don't. You're gonna get the corners. AJ, you remember in 2010 Nike came out with you could change the color in your Nike swoosh, like your cleat would come with like inserts that you could put in. It was like a quick, like 2009, 2010. They tried to do. That's what it reminds me of. They tried to do custom, but it was an old school cleat.
I didn't have those. I had custom cleats, so I never had them.
You had them customized.
I saw them. I remember seeing them. them. Guys would get them. You could change the color, but I had customs. So I never.
That was good for dudes going to AAA.
Oh yeah, they were cool.
Kratz
That was a cool thought.
Kratz is leaving us, so Kratz hat's on the way out.
I mean, if you can get the WBC Team Israel hat, it is very, very smooth. Got the flag on the side too. Appreciate your New Era.
Very nice. First time I saw you rocking that one. Looks good. We'll see Kratz tomorrow. We'll see Lance Lynn next. Hey, one of the stars of Cardinal Territory and part of the FT Fam and FT Network, Lance Lynn, joining us right now. Lance, good to see you, dude. But we're going to talk Cardinals in the second half of the conversation, just get to some MLB topics here from the jump. So I want to start here with you, Lance. We went over at the top of the show the suspensions that were reduced for Jorge Soler and for Reynaldo Lopez. What are your thoughts on the way that the league hands out suspensions for fights like that? Do you think that they should treat a starter differently? Because, I mean, Reynaldo essentially didn't miss any time. Kratz didn't think he should be suspended at all. Soler gets the suspension knocked down to 4 games. So just your thoughts on how to handle that if you were commish.
Yeah, I mean, anytime a pitcher is suspended, if it's not more than 10 days, it's kind of not a suspension. It's like, hey, I get a break, but your team's missing a starter, so which you're not going to start for 5-6 days anyway. So a 4-game, 5-game doesn't hurt you at all as a starter. So if he did deserve it, then you need to go 10 games where it's a true miss of a start and it hurts the team for doing that. And then, Soler came out firing, swinging, and all that. I don't know, anything over 3, he didn't connect. It was one of those things where it's like, hey, take a couple of days off. Let's not go throw haymakers just because a guy threw you up top. But did they both deserve to get suspended? Yes, they did. Now it's the question is what's long enough to do that. I mean, whenever you're gonna charge them out throwing haymakers, as you all know, you got to do something. So I think the league kind of got it right when it's all said and done.
Yeah, but shouldn't the guy who charged the mound get more games than the guy who just stood there and got charged? Shouldn't he get more?
Well, technically, he did, because he actually had to miss 4 games where Reynaldo didn't miss a start.
Yeah, they just moved the rotation around.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. You should have to miss you should have to miss at least a start, or you should have to miss something, right? Oh, it's your start day. Guess what? You can't pitch today. You have to wait 5 more days or something. There's got to be a better way to do this.
They should. I mean, if you're ever going to suspend a starting pitcher, you have to make sure the team feels it and the pitcher feels it. So if it's a 10-day suspension, you're missing a start, and then you're almost missing 2, but you're not. And then as a position player, it's like, okay, what's the right number on a situation like that? Is it 5? I mean, then it's like, okay, he's missing the same amount of, what's the starter gets 30 starts a year. So, what's the equivalent to, hey, he's got to miss a start or 2. What's the equivalent to the position player percentage of games missed for suspension? Maybe you could go that route and try to find, a percentage of games missed type of thing. That's probably it, somewhere around there. But, I'm not huge into the numbers right there. So somebody can crunch those numbers and say, all right, for 30 starts in a year is this percentage, he's missing this percentage of games. So that's the percentage the position player gets suspended to. Something like that might work.
And part of the problem in my mind is, of course, the players in the league legally don't get along well. And I do think you probably have a battle with the union saying, hey, we're not going to have a starter get suspended 10 games of pay. I think there is actually a solution there. I'm not a lawyer, but I play one sometimes on this show. You don't have to dock 10 days or 10 games of pay. You could say, hey, we get that this is unique. Like this isn't, the Bible here. We can change things. Hey, you get suspended 10 games that you actually miss a start. And if you're designated as a starter, that's how these suspensions work, right? You could be like, hey, the equivalent for a starter versus the equivalent for a reliever versus the equivalent for a position player. And then you can still just dock less pay, because that's the battle that you're going to have there, right? So why should a starter get 10 games if you're trying to make it more just the equivalent of missing 1 start?
No, I think it's a no doubter right there. You just kind of hit the nail on the head. If you're going to get suspended a start, or they're going to get suspended, they both could get suspended, 5 days of pay, but he's going to miss a full start. So he's going to get suspended 10 days and it's just 5 days of pay. Both get the same pay cut. That could be an easy one. Hell, they do it on the IR, right? It's like, hey, pitchers get 15, position players get 10. So they already do it in other aspects of the game. So I'm sure that these guys can figure out a way to suspend the guy the same amount, but also get fined the same amount of days pay. So it's not, one guy's not getting hurt more on pay. Pay cuts are going to be the same, but the suspension has to be feel the same too, whether it's, hey, I'm going to miss 4 games. He needs to miss a start because he didn't miss 1. So he's going to get suspended 10 days, but only 4 days of pay. Something like that could be a nice little fix for it.
Just an FYI, guys, they get paid when they're suspended. They don't, it's not suspended without pay. You just get suspended.
They get fined.
They get fined like $5,000. That's not 5 days pay. That's like, for some guys, it's like 2 minutes pay.
Sometimes you get fined your day's pay. Depends on how much you piss Rob off.
I never got that. I think the biggest fine I ever got was $250. I think, something like that. So I got
$1,000 for breaking an iPad.
Well, you deserved it. You shouldn't break the iPad. It's not the iPad's fault. You suck.
It was already broken, and I placed it in the area with its friends.
Sure you did. By the way, did you ever throw at anybody?
Yeah, I was told to throw at a few people, and a couple times I did it on my own. So I did what I was told when it was time, and I did what I thought was right when it was time.
Did you ever have anyone charge them out?
No.
Dang,
You probably did one time.
I missed an opportunity. Dang it! But you never hit me, so I couldn't.
You were such an out that I didn't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Wait, I have one here. Lance, have you ever been told by a teammate or a coach, hey, we're going after that guy, and you're like, I don't really agree with why we're doing this?
I've never had to hit someone I didn't think deserved it. I have seen guys hit that I didn't think deserve it. And you're like, why? What's the point? I saw one guy hit a guy because he just was hitting him well. And I was like, bro, come on, just like, you get him out if they're just walking. If you don't, so it's like one of those things. But I never had to hit anyone or hit anyone that I didn't think deserved it. Or there wasn't a reason to hit somebody. So I got lucky in that sense. But I've seen some guys get pissed off that a guy owns them and they just dot them just to do it. I have seen that. And that's when you're like, okay, well, I got to back my teammate, but he was in the wrong here. But you got to do what you got to do.
I agree. I hated that one. I hated that one. Oh, he owns me, so I'm going to hit him. Well, then get me out. Don't hit me because I just got 4 hits off you in a game. That's your fault. You
Try
suck, not
something new.
me. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I never understood that. I got hit a lot, and I was like, "Dang!" By the way, what the heck?
That's just because no one liked you. That wasn't because you were owning him.
That's true. That's also true. And anytime anyone made someone mad, they threw at me, and I took it. So that's
Well, yeah, you were the
I was
guy
happy
that
to be.
everyone
I was
had
happy to
throw
be
at
that
on the
guy,
other team.
though.
Well, when you're the
I was happy.
catcher, you know everyone blames you for any of their guys getting hit or anything. It's like, hey, I can't help it that my pitcher doesn't have a damn clue where it's going, you know.
You're right.
But I remember Tony La Russa would always say, if he can't control it, don't call it in there, and then he would want to blast whatever catcher that was calling the pitches. So maybe that's where you got it so many times.
That's right. From all those years I spent with Tony.
It wasn't your pleasant attitude that got you hit. I promise.
Never. Exactly, right? I mean, I agree. Who would want to throw at me? I was always nice. I was always smiling.
Hey, Lance, I want to move to the ABS challenge system and how it's changed the zone. AJ has talked about this. There was a good story out today in The Athletic from Cody Stavenhagen, who hosts our Tiger Territory show, and we're going to hit this more tomorrow on the position player hitter side. But I wanted to get your thoughts on how the zone has changed, shrunk, the 2D versus the 3D conversation, how the zone's not being evaluated by the rule book, and how the walks are up. We're at, I think, the walk rate's the highest right now since 1950. Now, I'm saying all of these things like it's bad. I freaking love the ABS challenge system, but just curious for your thoughts on how pitchers are looking at this.
Well, I think when you see it, you just want a strike to be called a strike in the rule book, right? The problem is until they fully lock in everything height-wise and all that for every hitter, it's going to be hard to totally lock it in. And if the strike zone's changing, I think the big thing that everyone's worried about is we've known this for years that they've wanted to shrink the strike zone because they wanted more offense and less strikeouts and all that good stuff. But by doing that, you're going to have more walks and games are going to get a little longer again. So you can't have everything you want at the same time. So I think in general, the ABS is great. We want a strike to be a strike and a ball to be a ball, and we want everyone to be on an even playing field. I think every hitter and pitcher can say that. Now we just need to know what the exact strike is. There can't be, little change here and there. And I know a lot of the AAA guys were like, hey, I can hit great in AAA because I don't have to worry about the high strike. So it's like these guys are coming up to the big leagues before the ABS and they couldn't hit because they don't have to cover the whole strike zone. But if we want to shrink the strike zone, just say it. Be like, hey, let's not make it like the baseballs from years ago where like, oh, we changed the baseballs a little bit, but we didn't. We changed the strike zone a little bit, but we didn't. So it's all one of those things. But ABS, I want it to be every pitch. Let's be done with it. But I do like the challenge system. It makes it fun. The fans seem to enjoy it and stuff like that. But all in all, I think every player would say we just want a strike to be a strike and a ball to be a ball when it's supposed to be.
Well said.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, well said.
I agree.
Next big topic from Cardinal Territory the other day, and this will kick off the Cardinals portion of the conversation. Can you reiterate what you said about how players need to be careful what they tell the media?
So I think AJ can go on this. When you tell the media what you're trying to accomplish or what you accomplished that day, that gives the opponent a chance to understand your mindset on how you're trying to go about your process, whether it's hitting or pitching, how you're trying to get people out, what your game plan is, all these different things. So there's a fine line between, hey, here's what worked well today. And then it's like, but you're not going to sit here and say, well, I'm looking for a ball on this side of the plate so I can get this swing off, blah, blah, blah. And then if I see that as a pitcher, I'm like, well, I'm not giving him that. And I'm going to make him feel uncomfortable somewhere else so I can get him off that away. And as a pitcher, you don't want to be like, yeah, man, I really want to establish down and away. And then I want to run my sinker off in so I can run cutter off away to expand the strike zone and then elevate with 2 strikes. So every time you go to a 2-strike pitch, they know that you're trying to go up top or whatever you might be doing. So I think that's what I was trying to reiterate is it's, you want to know everything that these kids and every player is trying to do, but it's also like, hey, they can't tell you everything or people are going to use it against them and then figure out what their mindsets are. And then, that could be used against them.
I think it's different for a pitcher than a hitter, though. I think that a pitcher trying to say, hey, I'm working on this and I really want to do this is different because a hitter can go up there and say, hey, I'm looking for a ball away. And you might never get a ball away, or I'm looking for a ball in. You might never get it because the pitcher is actually in control. So I don't have a problem with Jordan Walker saying, hey, I'm trying to elevate the ball because you know what? Pitchers make mistakes, right? They might not be trying to go away or they might not be trying to throw a pitch there, but they make mistakes and you still have the opportunity. So I don't think that's as big of a deal. But I always remember a pitcher would say, "Oh, I'm trying to do this to this guy," or "I'm trying to do this," and you're like, you just sit there and go, "Oh, you're trying to throw me in? Okay, watch this. I'm opening the gate here, and I'm gonna try and get the head out." And boom. And then someone asks you, like, "Well, he said it before the game that he was trying to pitch into everybody." Well, there was my opportunity.
Bingo. Yeah, and that's the fine line, right? As a hitter, we know, hey, you're trying to get the ball elevated so you can drive balls for homers. So that's not, out of the ordinary to talk about. But it's like, hey, here's my plan to get a ball elevated. Here's my plan to get myself into good counts for me to be able to get balls elevated and this and that. Which might have, if a pitcher, is paying attention, it's like, okay, he's going to not swing at this early in the count, so I might be able to steal a strike and get ahead and stuff like that. That's the only thing that I could see. But yeah, it's like, hey, yeah, I want to shrink the strike zone, and I want to get the ball elevated up so I can drive it and do damage. So he's doing what he's supposed to do, but he also is like, hey, well, I'm not trying to swing at spin early in the count. I'm not trying to do this, and this, and I'm keyholing certain things. And then if a pitcher knows that, he might be able to use that as advantage to get ahead and then put him on the defense. That would be my only worry for a hitter.
Yeah, agreed. But you guys make so many mistakes, so it's fine. You guys make mistakes all the time. All the time. I can tell you what I'm looking for, and you guys are dumb enough to shake right to that pitch. You guys are like, I can't hit my fastball.
Yeah. Well, I agreed that most couldn't. I had a really long career having a very mediocre fastball. So, that's what you do.
That's true. I can't argue with you on that one.
Hey,
the Cardinals,
and I don't think you knew any other finger but this.
My other fingers were broken. My other ones were broken.
He was just like this, and he's like, every once in a while, he's like, let's make it run a little bit. This one, we want this one, and then let's make it run a little bit. And if a runner's on first and he's trying to throw him out, it's
I'm
not trying to block it. I'm throwing him out.
That's right. I'm not letting him get to second like that.
That's why we worked well. I wasn't trying to make anything spin anyways. We were good.
I know, it was good. It was a good pair. The Cardinals, you brought up Jordan Walker and the Cardinals. Did you give them your Cardinals way playbook when all these young kids and they started this rebuild, reload, retool, whatever they're doing? Because do you think they're playing better than what we thought they were going to play? Because Walker's obviously good. Weatherholt's been good. Some of the other guys and some of the young pitchers have shown flashes that they have good stuff.
Yeah, no, I think what you're seeing is kind of a reset of the whole organizational way of how they're doing things. When I was there my last year, we kind of reset some of those old things that that kind of were outdated, right? And then we figured out how to let the kids be themselves a little bit. Some of these guys have taken a little longer to establish themselves as everyday big leaguers, and you're seeing Jordan take that next step right now, which is awesome to see, because when I was with him, he was really going through a lot of changes, trying to get the ball off the ground, and he kind of lost himself for a little bit. So I think the beauty of it now is, hey, we know what we are wanting from you, but we also know that you have your ways of doing it. So let's figure out how to work together and instead of saying, hey, this is how we're going to do it. It's like, no, how do you feel comfortable doing it? And then let's integrate our things that we think that can help you. So guys can be themselves, and hopefully it just will keep letting these guys flourish. They're very talented. A lot of these guys have been in the big leagues for a couple of years, and they had some good success early on, and then they got figured out. They might have changed things or got told to do things a little differently that didn't work for them specifically. But, with failure comes, positive things. And I think we're seeing that from some guys, and they're also buying into the system. It's like, hey, I know what I'm capable of, but I also have these little things that can help me get better day in and day out. And I don't lose what got me here. I think some of these guys lost what got them there by trying to change to certain things, where now it's, hey, we know what's gotten here. Let's build on that. And I think it's going to be a good mix for all of them.
Yeah, it's a fun watch. I know Cardinals fans, have been frustrated, and it's a smart fan base, so they know what a rebuild looks like. But this is a fun way to watch a team building itself back up. I mean, yeah, there's pitching talent that needs to be developed. I think they're last in strikeouts, which you're going to see some more elite arms coming through the minor leagues hopefully soon. But the hitters developing is a nice storyline right now, and you're hearing plenty of it on your show. Lance, thanks for joining us, man. Good to see you.
Hey, always good to be here. You guys keep doing your thing.
You too, dude.
I'll stay on the regional network here in Cardinal Territory.
We miss you. I heard. Hey, inside the biz. I heard
we're gonna start small, and then I'm gonna expand as I get more retired.
Yeah, but then it could be like MLB and the regionals collapse. We don't want you to collapse.
No,
I'm right where I need to be if it does.
No, we're gonna get national Lance. I heard that there was an invite and there was a schedule conflict. So
Yeah. I'm still in the hey, dad comes first mode right now. So eventually everybody will be in school all day and have their own thing, and then I get to kick back into the stuff that makes me me.
beautiful. Then we get more Lance. So we're just waiting. We're waiting for you to break out. You're just kind of you're there, but
I mean, your kids
you're
go to
waiting for
school,
your big
man.
moment.
Your kids
Just
go to
dipping the toes.
school, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Don't your kids go to school?
Well, we had half day and no school, so it was like the afternoon on the half day was needed, and then like midday on the off day, and it's like, hey, I got an off day at school, we got a little break, I gotta be with them, and we got a big weekend of sports that I gotta coach t-ball and all that good stuff. So it's just like, hey, you gotta stay locked in.
Yep. Hey, yeah, that sounds like an average week actually in school down here. I'm in Orlando right now, so
There we go.
enjoy it, dude. We'll chat soon though. We'll get you in the bigs in the national show soon. Okay.
All right, you guys have a good one. Keep it up.
You too. Thanks, Lance. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Hey, we're back. We're going to break. We're going to talk about some news on the Padres sale and also the MLBPA firings that went down yesterday with that news. So we'll get to both of those. Let's start with Corey Seager during the commercial break here while we have 2 minutes. And this tweet from our friend, one of the league leaders in appearances on FT, Evan Grant, who covers the Rangers. He said Seager ended last night in a 2-for-24 slump. After the game, he saw Danny Jansen fiddling with some bats, attaching electrodes from muscle stim therapy machine to them, bundled up nicely, placed in Seager's locker in an attempt to jolt his bats and to lighten the mood. Apparently it worked.
It did. This is what you do in the long season. There are things that happen inside. Now, they're not always seen by everybody, but there are things where people do things and you try to lighten up the mood. You try to get guys going. You try to, make them laugh, motivate them a little bit. And this is a good move by Danny Jansen. I like this move. I love this move. I mean, we had guys that would take bats home, sleep with them. Guys would put their bats in the corner. They were acting bad. I mean, there was all kinds of crazy stuff you would do with your bats. I mean, it's just to try to, if you listen, as a hitter, if you're struggling, you'll do anything.
Yeah, add a little performance enhancement, legal performance enhancement to your bat. There's some things you can do. There's some things you can't do. I don't think it's in the rule book that you can't attach electrodes to your bat.
Oh, you can. And it's funny too. And it makes for a great story.
It does. So we like that stuff. We like to mix it in. All right, coming up next, we'll hit some of the hot button issues around the league. And later we'll get to some White Sox debuts in slap. I'll get your thoughts on Sam Antonacci and also on Noah Schultz from the other day. We'll do that with AJ. So we're back in 1 minute on FT. 1 minute. Corner some quick hitters here. Let's start with the Padres sell process nearing a conclusion. Dennis Lynn, The Athletic, others putting out what's going on here. And it sounds like they're close to the finish line, AJ, and early next week. The bidders, we've already talked about who's involved, including Joe Lacob, the owner of the Warriors. There's a rich soccer dude. There's the owner of the Pistons involved. So the team is probably going to go for 3.5-ish. Maybe even more, $3.6 billion, which would shatter the record paid for the Mets, which is the record right now in baseball, $2.42 billion from Steve Cohen. If you go off the Forbes estimate, they were at 3.1, so this is going to go over that, clearly the market speaking. they had the estimate 59% increase from the year before to get to 3.1. Like the Padres sale price has skyrocketed. The Seidler family is going to make billions.
Yes, they are.
Mhm.
Listen, good. This is over. We can stop talking about. I hate when we have to talk about. Poor. Obviously, Peter Seidler passed away, and it was sad for him and his family, but also for Padres fans because it changed their trajectory of their finances. And now we're going to get this ending, and whoever gets it, hopefully, goes like Peter Seidler did and puts everything, his heart and soul, into making the Padres win a World Series, which is all Peter Seidler want. But he wasn't fortunate enough to see it before he passed away.
The bar is high in terms of how you treat your team. So some of the names that are listed on there, I mean, I think fans are rooting for Joe Lacob. He's done a nice job with the Warriors, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Next up.
I think they've been okay.
Right? Yeah, they've been good. They're the most valuable franchise in sports, I think, right now. Next up, the MLBPA has let go of not one, but two key parts of the operation. The COO, Xavier James, and the Chief Human Resources Officer, Michael O'Neill, both terminated with cause on Wednesday. The federal investigators are continuing the probe into what has gone on there. That included, some shady stuff with Tony Clark. We've gone over all of the shadiness that went on there with Tony. He's out. So there continues to be a purge for them to get in line for the upcoming CBA. But I mean, it sounds like there were some shady actors involved.
No, they found them and now they're getting rid of them, right? I mean, I don't know what they did. I don't know what happened. But hey, you know what? You're about to go into collective bargaining, and could get ugly. You need all your ducks in a row if you're the PA. So they found some stuff. They made a move. They got rid of these people that they thought did something. Innocent until proven guilty. But I mean, let's get your ducks in a row, PA, before this whole collective bargaining thing comes and becomes something that we don't want to see it become, which is a lockout or a strike.
Exactly. I mean, the people that are involved on the main negotiations are still there from a legal perspective. These are some of the people, I think, making decisions.
Yeah, but you don't want to have
distractions.
You don't have distractions, Scott.
Oh, no doubt.
You want to have everybody lined up together because you're about to go into a big battle. So you got to have everyone lined up and on the same page.
Yes, and that's why. I mean, they went into an investigation. Players hired outside counsel, and they were like, hey, find out what's going on here and get rid of the bad actors. So they're doing that. That's what you're seeing. Those are the stories coming out. They didn't give us any details on what they actually did, but maybe someone will investigate that and we'll do a segment on it. All right, coming up next, slap hands.
Do you continue to play Dom Smith regularly as you get Sean Murphy and Ha-Seong Kim back? That becomes the conversation, and I think in both cases, it's a resounding yes. You need to do whatever you can to make this offense as consistent as possible, and right now it's hard to argue that, perhaps outside of Drake Baldwin, Dom Smith has been your best hitter in this lineup.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, it's really not, I guess you could argue for Matt Olson a little bit, but it's been those three guys, and Dubon, it's just been guys not really you would expect. And then some guys who've gotten off to slow starts. And I do think, Dom Smith is not like Juan Soto. He's not going to have a 200 WRC plus this year. So there will be a point in time where we see a bit of regression, but all the games that he wins for you until that time still count the same. I mean, it's not like they take any wins away from your ledger just because Dom Smith doesn't keep this up all year long. These wins still matter. They still count the same. And it's just been unbelievable. And to your point about the lineup, I am very curious. The right, left stuff I get. And the Braves have done it well. They basically put Yastrzemski after Riley and then put Ozzie right there and then let Dom bat after Ozzie, which is usually seventh in the order. I think Michael Harris and Dubon have been rounding out the bottom. So I could see them flipping maybe Dom and Yaz. I could also just see Walt saying, you know what, the bottom of the lineup has been so good. Maybe I don't want to, maybe I want to keep the vibe where we're not just automatic outs at the bottom. We got some guys getting on base for the guys at the top of the order. I don't know. I'm actually interested to see what they do, but it starts with just, having a guy and credit to the organization. Listen, they signed him on a minor league deal. Anybody in baseball could have signed this guy. obviously no one knew this was going to come the first 3 weeks. And again, we don't expect it to continue at this level, but credit to the organization. They obviously saw something in Dom Smith, and he has had success in the past where they thought they could get some value. And I don't think they ever thought he would be playing this much.
Let's lap. Don't leave yet if you're online. We still have 5 minutes left. We're going to go overtime online. On TV, Sam Antonacci, before his interview session started pregame, each reporter wanted to identify themselves, he asked them to, I'm butchering this, but he just wanted everyone's name so he could get to know people at the big league level. Very classy. Tweet from Scott Merkin that was stated more eloquently than I just said it, but that's cool, AJ.
Yeah, it's cool. Something cool. Some to stand out to the reporters, try to get on their good side. You always got to kiss up sometimes to the reporters. So it's nice for them to know that you care and you think that, they're important.
Mm-hmm. You had him and now Schultz from the other day, who got blitzed in the first inning by the Rays bunting attack. The Rays are trying to find advantages because so many teams have caught up to the advantages that they had. So now they're like bunting.
Yes, whatever it takes, man. The Rays will do it. The Rays aren't afraid to try stuff. So, listen, you got Chandler Simpson at the top of your order. You should bunt a lot.
Mm-hmm. They're asking a lot.
Schultz looked good. Schultz looked good. He only had 4 walks is a little much, but I'm just trying to figure out why the White Sox still continue to use openers. Anthony Kay has been good, but it's always opener. Jordan Leisure today was starting for the White Sox.
Oof. Not on him, but just on what they look like.
Oh, well, yeah.
Hey, real quick, I want to point this out while we're doing some overtime leading up to Dodgers territory. Look at Inside Edge notes. They are the best in the biz at getting those unique stats. So you're going to see those notes on the bottom line here, the foul line that we call it. Sal Stewart, 733 slugging on pitches outside of the zone, best in baseball. 511 OBP for Brendan Donovan against righties, the whole deal there. So you're going to see some of those key notes. If you thought you already had trouble paying attention, now you get really good notes at the bottom of your screen. And then the more classic leaderboards like Jordan Walker and the big home run leaders in baseball. One other note here while we have 2 minutes, Garrett Cole is working his way back, AJ. So the Yankees are going to see him on Friday, starting in Double-A for Somerset. Anthony Volpe's there too, so get a good look at some Yankees.
Yeah, if you're in Somerset, get your tickets. Sell tickets fast. They're going fast, Scott. Garrett Cole, this is something that I think is a big deal for the Yankees. I think Garrett Cole is a very important piece for them if he comes back and is healthy.
I bet you that if it's not sold out already, it will. I'm biased too about the Patriots, Somerset Patriots, since I worked for them back in the day. But usually when they announce something like that, the game will sell out. You're in the... Obviously, you're still in the New York market, TV market, right? In Jersey, in a very crowded state. So people will show up to that one. There's a lot of people in Jersey that don't want to make the hike to the Bronx all the time. They won't go to as many Yankee games, but they'll hit these Somerset Patriot games to see Yankees like Cole. And
this helps these teams. This helps these minor league teams when these guys come on rehab because it does sell out and it gets nice crowds. And it also helps the minor league guys because they get to see how Garrett Cole and Anthony Volpe, who are established big leaguers, go about their business. I think this rehab is an important part of the game.
Oh, I love when the guys show up for a few days and you hear about what they either gift or buy for dinner. All that stuff is really cool. And it's it's a nice emotional boost and confidence boost for minor leaguers to spend some time with a superstar.
Especially if you get a hit off of them and you're in the minor league, you're like, I can hit a big leaguer.
Right. If you never make it, but then you get one of those, that could be your moment where you can always tell someone in your next job, oh, I took Garrett Cole deep in the minors, no big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry about it.
Although, like when I was with the Twins, there was a guy who hit a homer off Pedro in a minor league game and got released the next day. So that didn't go so good.
Wow. I mean, that's a tough crowd there.
Tough league.
Good way to go out.
Tough league.
Yeah.
Florida Spring Training League.
See everyone tomorrow. We'll see AJ on Monday.